Coach Jones always talks about how watching the film, he sees things that obviously you don't get to see firsthand during the game.
Sure.
When you've looked back at UCF, what did you see in terms of the performance of the line that you didn't maybe realize while the game was taking place?
Well, we played hard. The effort's there. The guys are trying. We're busting our tail, trying to get the job done. We just didn't get it done good enough. They're too good to just kind of go through the motions or be lax in certain technique areas that we got to be great on, and they exposed a couple things. Did a good job.
UCF has a pretty fast offensive line. They got a couple of early sacks, and then you sort of tightened it up a little bit. They only got one the rest of the way after that that early pair.
Right.
What adjustments did you guys make on the line that enabled you to tighten that up?
Well, we just there may have been a little bit of a funk. We've had some guys play here in the past that maybe haven't done well, and they would even admit to you that just early game jitters against a really good player, and so I think settling down late in the game, just kind of a natural, getting a feel for the game, helped out a lot. We had, I think Ben and Brian settled down, did well. I know late in the game we had some guys battling through injury that really started to bother them, that hurt late in the game, but man, for the most part, it's just kind of getting a feel for what they're doing, and as certain guys rush, Troy like to swat the hands and like to really shift side to side. Wasn't really a power guy, just a quick, make one move and go, swat the hands and go, and so I think guys made adjustments.
Coach Jones was saying you still have a lot to play for. You still have everything in front of you. Tulsa still has to go play UCF.
And Houston, yeah.
And Houston. And so if you guys win out, there's a chance at a conference championship game. Do you guys think about the opportunity to play UCF again, or is it simply get as far as you can, and if you end up meeting them, that's how everything unfolds?
I think you do. Coach obviously mentioned that we're guys that understand the situations and the possibilities, but I think, man, right now our focus is totally on Southern Miss. We're in a very unique situation to where our goals are still in line. We could still win a conference championship and do what we set out to do at the very beginning, or we are, a couple lack of focus games away from totally missing out on the goal that we set out, and that's to go to a bowl game. So we're kind of in a tough situation. We've really got to take this week serious, like we do every week, but really put it together on game day.
What's your early impression of Southern Miss? It's a team that's traditionally very fast and athletic, and they got you last year, but now they're 0-9, I think.
Right.
What's your early impression of this team coming in?
Just looking at the record and looking at the games that they've lost, they're a team that demands every bit of respect that we need to give them. We're understanding that they are very talented and fast, like you said. That's true again this year. A lot of the guys they had last year are back. They did lose some players. Cordero Law is gone. A couple other linebackers are gone. That they were good players for them last year, but they're good. They lost a lot of close games early. They lost a rainstorm game to Louisville. They lost to East Carolina in week 2 by I think a touchdown. That was close. Obviously last week they lost to UAB by about 5 points, I believe. I mean they're close on a lot of games, and so they're not that bad of a team. Although the 0-9 would suggest otherwise. They're like Coach Jones said, it's going to be a team that requires our best effort to beat them.
In addition to those players they also lost their coaching staff after last year. When you've started to look at their defensive film, are they very different scheme-wise on defense?
Yeah, I think so. They'll do a little bit of different things, but honestly, their D coordinator was the head guy at Memphis, I believe my freshman year in 2008 when we played Memphis here. Memphis, again, that year was a team, and he even still has pretty talented, big up-front guys, and so they're going to do a lot of the things that you can do with big O linemen or D linemen, excuse me, and linebackers. So it's a scheme we've seen before, but it's different than last year a little bit.
Coach Jones always talks about, got to focus on this week's game.
Yeah.
Tries not to look too much big picture, at least when he's talking to the media.
Absolutely.
But you got 3 games left. You know what you've got to do in order to get bowl eligible or maybe get to the bowl championship game.
Yeah.
How do you balance that, the one game at a time approach, with looking at the big picture and trying to figure out what you need to do on a bigger scale?
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, I would say it adds an extra bit of urgency because, like you said, there's no room for error. Coach Gans does a great job of reminding us of that in the afternoon meetings. But yeah, it's definitely a situation where we have to take care of business. There's not a whole lot of room for mistakes, and we know, like you said, we got three games left where we match up pretty well against these opponents. But you know, we take it one game at a time. But also in the back of your head, you understand that you got to take care of business this week.
Against Southern Miss last year, you guys played them tight for a while,
right,
and then sort of things unraveled all at once.
Right.
Is there an element of revenge in mind, or do you not look at it in that sense?
I mean, I think so. You obviously like to beat the guys that beat you last year. I'd be lying if I told you that's not the case. But like I said, just like every week, it's focusing on your opponent and doing what we do to take care of business. So if you get too caught up in emotional type revenge things week to week, then that's how you get highs and lows in your performance. Because then if you go play a team, say like Rice, that you've beaten 3 years in a row next week, and you don't go in mentally sharp and with the sense of urgency that you did this week, then you can be beat. So we try to approach every week the same way.